Alia Jamal, the Heart Mentor. It's Thursday. We are meeting again for our weekly workshop, and today we are talking about releasing the past. So, we are going to go into so many deeper layers of why it's important to release the past and why we want to do it um, is to create a beautiful life. I see it over and over, and I have personally been through that when you go through a very difficult moment, you're on the other side, and now you're trying to fix your life, but no matter what you touch, um, let me just have a person join in, and I'm going to. Okay, so I pinned myself. Most likely, you guys would only see me. So a person goes through something, and um, they want to change their life, but it's not changing. The most common place where we see it, you go through a difficult relationship and then you give yourself a break, you give yourself me time, you travel a lot, and you assume that you're so in love with yourself, and then you go to another relationship and similar things start to happen. Of course, it hurts. And the most important thing it does, it makes you very confused. And then you feel like there's something wrong with you. You're the problem, you're the broken one. And we can go into a whole hole there. But we want to understand what happened. You try to create a new future from your past. And where is this past hidden? It's hidden inside your unconscious mind, in your energy field, in every single cell of your body. So we will be going deeper into what is really release, what is suppression, and what is forgetting. Because most of us, what we do, we just suppress it. We try to forget about it with new experiences. If you have not witnessed someone who just came out of a terrible relationship and all they are doing is traveling the world because traveling is what gives them the high. Some people go to substance abuse because that is what gives them the high. And then after a few years, they're like, okay, I feel ready. Let me go try it again. So, what we want to do, we want to work through the past. We want to learn how can I release it and why it's important to create a new life. And if you feel you're in a spot where you don't feel it very comfortable to create a new life, I'll show you what to plug into, because sometimes if you have never experienced a beautiful relationship, if you have no example of a beautiful relationship, how are you going to create it? Because it's almost like you're trying to create something that you have never seen or experienced. So that is a complete unknown. And I personally have been through that journey, so I can tell you, yes, it's not easy at all, but there's a way around it, and we'll learn that. So first, let's get into why it is difficult to release the past. Sometimes when I have conversation with my clients who have gone through terrible levels of trauma, I understand some people think trauma is trauma, but when you get to talk to people, there's like my mom slapped me, and then a very, very dark version of what, as human, we get to experience. But at the same time, we learn that how powerful we are. But most of us, we get stuck in that quicksand or dark matter, and we don't know how to come out of it. So most of the time, what we do, we just start working on our career. A lot of women who are highly successful and they have achieved a lot in their career, they are suffocating and dying inside of them because the trauma is following them. They don't realize that that is what keeps creating their future moment. So, why it's hard to release it? Safety. When you grew up in a specific environment, and that is all you have known, that is all your nervous system have known, your nervous system is going to look for familiar chaos. And that could come as physical abuse, it can come as emotional abuse, it can come as life is always going to be hard. You could be in a very happy, healthy relationship, but financially you're struggling, your body's struggling, your health is struggling. So it comes from that familiar space that That's how I grew up. That's how life is. It feels safe. So it follows us. Another is our identity. When our identity gets attached to this is what I went through, this is what I have been through. Have you ever talked to a person who has been through very difficult moments and then they argue that that's who they are? And you need to see them, that's who they are. I went through a fair share of that. I'm a single mom. My life is difficult. I'm struggling. I had a, you know, difficult previous marriage, and there was this, there was that. So, what was happening in my case, I was not talking that much about uh, my past to the people. I was talking in my head. So if you say, "No, Alia, I'm over that. I don't talk about myself that way." How do you talk about yourself in here? Because this is, my friend, this right here, it's not just your head. It's an antenna that transmits signal. Every thought that you have, every story that you tell is sending out signal to the universe for the matter to come together and create a very specific reality for you. So if right here I'm sitting and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm a single mom, I have difficult this, or I've been through that, why did I go through it, or whatever I'm thinking, the story I'm telling myself, that is the identity I'm holding on to. I don't know who else I can be. So I'm going to hold on to that. And I did for the longest time till my mentor showed it to me what I was doing within me. And that is when I stopped telling myself that story. I even stopped using the word single mom. I even stopped using it in my writing. I very deliberately changed the identity. It became I am a parent, period. There was no story attached to it. I'm a parent and that's it. And of course, there were many other layers of identity that I worked with. But just know our trauma becomes our identity because it does give us a sense of like, oh my God, I have been through that. It gives us that self-esteem boost. It gives us that self-worth boost. Anytime I tell my story, or I used to tell my story in the past to somebody, and they'd be like, oh my God, you're so brave, you're so courageous, you're so strong. I didn't feel it, but definitely I got energy from those words of appreciation, so that identity became solidified. The last one is loyalty. We want to stay loyal to the version of us who experienced that. We don't want to abandon her. If I went and I created a different life for me, that means I'm not being loyal to her. She went through so much. So I must hold on to the same thing. Again, if you have not experienced this within yourself or had a conversation with someone who argues for their past, that this is what I've been through, please look, listen, this is who I am, that's how my life is, then you're not going to be able to tell what I'm talking about. But I'm assuming we all have experienced it within ourselves, with our loved ones, when a person just doesn't want to let go. And I am the most stubborn person that I know when it comes to let go. It takes me forever to let go. In fact, in the past 3 weeks, I've been working on letting go of something that feels as big as Mount Everest within me. So I work through the safety piece, I work through the identity piece, and I am working through the loyalty piece right now. And sometimes the identity comes back, and then, I do the new work in that area, or loyalty comes back. Loyalty is the hardest to work through, especially if you've been betrayed and you have decided that you're going to be loyal, then it feels very difficult. So these three hold us into the past. We keep going there, we keep going there. What happens? You get more depressed, you get more angry with yourself. Why did I acted the way I did? Why did I do that? More question come up. So what happens? What are the signals you're sending to the universe? That is what gets created. So either you are going to choose to just stay in your misery, or you're going to go the distraction route. So there's so many ways to distract. You might be going back to school, you might be working on your career, you might be just traveling all the time. I know someone who just travels. That is their strategy to deal with the challenges in their life. Some people become a travel agent, so they so so then it's easy for them to just stay there. Nothing wrong with any of these strategies, but that is when you don't have control over what's possible for you. When we are running away from who we can possibly become, we don't get to create that person, and the world don't get to experience that person. You don't get to experience that person. Your soul doesn't get to live through you. And then we come back, and there are consequences to that. You come right back into the earth school, and we do all over again. And for some of us, that is not a problem, or that is not something they believe in. So whatever suits you, whatever makes you happy, follow that. But my work is for those souls who want to devote themselves or their life to the loyalty of their soul, not the loyalty to their wound, not the loyalty of what they went through. So rest of the conversation is going to be for those of my friends. So I very quickly want to emphasize that if I stay stuck in my past, I am not sending the signal to the universe of something new. So you will live life like today is going to be different than yesterday because it's a brand new energy. Every day has its a brand new energy metaphysically, but you're going to carry that stinky past with you. You're going to carry those worries, those anxieties, and then that is the signal you're sending out. It might come in a different form, but it will keep coming back to you. So that is what I want to show you how to change. Now, I we want to talk about what is the difference between releasing, forgetting, and suppressing. So forgetting, numb yourselves. We try to forget it. Sometimes our past moments are so difficult that our nervous system cannot remember them. Some of my friends, their childhood trauma, they start remembering it when we are deep into the work. Like when we in a year-long container, when we are like on month ninth or 10th, they start having the memories of childhood trauma. And then they're like, where did that come from? I had completely forgotten about it. Well, your nervous system didn't feel safe enough to hold on to that memory. And if it's coming to the surface now, it's ready to be released. So, with distraction here and there, whatever you do, we try to forget things. Sometimes we change homes, sometimes we change countries to do that. Now, suppressing is when you let the time heal you. My friend, time does not heal anything. If you think that time heals you, and it's a very common concept, time heals everything. Time heals nothing. And time is only existing on planet Earth. And when you start to play with, I think, your own metaphysical essence, there's no time. So if I have a wound, let's say that happened in 2020 or 2015, 10 years have passed. And I'm like, I'm unbothered by it. When there would be a perfect trigger, that memory is going to come back and it's going to completely take over me. And that is what we call PTSD. A specific trigger, and you're back in that memory. And then you're like, what happened to those 10 years or 20 years that have passed? Well, my friend, nothing happened. Time doesn't heal anything. So you can say, I came out of a bad relationship. I'm going to give myself a year to just fall in love with myself, and I'm just going to pamper myself, and I'm going to take care of myself. My friend, your wounds are sitting there. They're fermenting. They're not going anywhere. They're just fermenting. That's called suppressing, where we use the that time will heal me, or the time is going to heal me, and in 6 months I'll be better. What happens? It just goes deeper, 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 and you do feel better. You do feel happier, healthier. But again, given a specific trigger, it's going to feel like not even a second has passed and you're right back in that moment. And if you have experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. I experience it. And that's why I can tell you time doesn't heal anything. Now, releasing is when you let it go from a place of feeling whole. If you don't feel whole within you yet, if you're tied to the safety of that trauma or the identity of that trauma or loyalty to that version of you that experienced that trauma, you don't feel whole. We only release from a place of wholeness. And that is the deeper work I do with my clients in our 101 container. Getting to that place where you feel whole requires creating safety within you outside of that trauma, creating a different identity, or finding the framework I use is discovering the identity of your soul, discovering who your soul is. When that becomes your identity, my friend, nothing of this world can impact you. That is the mission I am for myself. Then your loyalty also becomes to your soul. When you feel whole, that is when you can let go anything. And it's not an easy experience for a human, especially given the nervous system that we have, given the body that we have, given the emotions that we have. So sometime I do meet women who are like, oh, I let that go. And especially in the day and age we live, everything needs to be instant. So you read this book called Let Them, and now all of a sudden you have let go everything. That is where we are suppressing, my friend. It does require multiple layers of work within you that you do with someone else, whether you're doing it with a therapist, whether you're doing it with some kind of other practitioner, you're doing it with a mentor, a coach. If you're doing with someone like me, it requires another person to be able to pull you out of there. Just how we cannot heal ourselves when our leg is broken, we go to a doctor, they stitch it, they put it together, and then we let the body do its magic. We all need that other person, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's very important to work with that other person who can help you move through it. It happens much faster. I was able to do close to 2 decades of work within 4 years because I worked with multiple mentors at a time. I wanted to speed up the process a little bit. That is the impatience version of me, right there at work. That is when you are fully able to release. Now, that's not what we are going to do, of course, today. I will be showing you what you can do, but there will be a little bit of more commitment on your side because you're being conscious and more often. Let's say when I have released it from my nervous system, now I don't have to, it's almost like when you have an ointment and you're swimming at the same time. So the ointment is going to come off. So if you are swimming all the time, you're going to put it on again. You're going to put it on again because water is moving, removing it. But when you heal it, you don't have to put the ointment. You can just swim. That is the difference when we have fully released. And it does take some time, multiple years, to release something fully. I don't want to be like, the bad news or it's going to take forever. I just want to share the real work it takes to change yourself from inside, to heal the wounded aspect of you. It takes time in terms of you're going to work on it. It's not going to take time in terms of it's just going to heal on its own. Just like if you want to lose 30 pounds of weight, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen with time. You will be required to go to the gym every single day, eat healthier, make better choices, drink more water. That is the work you'll do, and then it will take time. You will keep doing it for a long period of time, and then you will be a different body. Same thing. So different methods that you're going to learn or hear in this space is sometimes people are using breath, releasing breath to release something from their system. Sometime we are writing. Sometime we are sitting there and trying to make sense of why it happened. That is where soul journey comes. You can go into past life, you can go into Akashic record, but that is only going to work on your consciousness level. Now, I make sense why it had to happen, but still the release part is extra. I personally believe when we do the consciousness work and the release, it happens faster, easier. Because if I'm just using breath or some other visualization technique where I'm just giving the energy to the universe, um, I'm telling myself I'm doing it, but then my nervous system is holding on to that energy and it returns after a week. Again, I have tried and tested all the different techniques, so I'm telling you from my own personal experience and embodiment what it takes to release it. Now, what we want to do, we want to use the past as a springboard, not as like, oh my God, what happened to me? Because now we are shifting into our workshop. How can I create a life that I love? And we will do a releasing exercise. I'll show you how to release from your heart. Um, whatever you have been through in life, keep it in front of you. And now keep rest of your life in front of you as if it's a blank canvas. The first thing that's going to come to your mind, I don't want that. Whatever experience I in my past, I don't want that. Let go of that. Let go of way of thinking this way. Always focus on what do you want. If you experience betrayal, say, I want to experience loyal friendships, relationships. If you experience manipulation, I want to experience harmony, openness, honesty. So, the first thing we want to release is the way you think and the way you word. Your words are magic spells, my friend. Your thoughts are the signals that go into the universe. And trust me, my friend, someone is listening to those thoughts. Things are moving based on your thoughts. They are invisible, you cannot see. I have lived uh, hell on earth. I live in heaven on earth, and I can guarantee you, practice this way of living just for 30 days, and you will see, oh my God, somebody listens to my thought, and my life gets impacted based on what I think. So, start first shift. We are going to create what do I want? That is the only way you're going to think. Don't go into, I don't want this, I don't want that. Just let go of that one habit and switch to, what do I want? Now create that, like, on the blank canvas, create that I want this. I want to experience a harmonious, healthy, beautiful relationship. This is what I want. That is the first step in creating anything, because that is where you're telling your order to the universe. And I know all those funny reels that we watch, how we can give order to the universe and then we get something back and we don't like it, and because we didn't really mean it. But this is the first step. That is true, my friend. You can actually give orders to the universe. You are that powerful. If you don't know that, I would highly recommend work on that belief. You are that powerful. Um, and then we want to step into the unknown of our heart. Like, heart is that takes you into that unknown space where anything is possible, because heart is the doorway into the infinite possibilities that exist for your soul. So, my friends, you do have the ability to become whoever you want and whatever you want. But the requirement is your heart is open. When we are holding on to our past, your heart is completely closed. It doesn't open. So your past keep creating your future moments. And the way there is a technique that I teach my clients to release from the back heart, which I won't be able to teach it here because we teach it like, way deeper into the passive, into the program. It requires many deeper layers. But what I'm going to teach you is something where you can extract energy from your body, and we can invite a little bit of a consciousness to it too. And it literally just got channeled as I was preparing for this. So I'm excited for it, to try it for myself and also for you too. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And touch your feet to the ground if you're not, so you can feel more grounded and more present in this moment. Call in all your energy that has been all around you, scattered into your past, into your future. Summon all your energy, all of your focus into this moment. And then just focus on what is it that you would like to release on that energy level that is no longer yours, or that's no longer needed to create your future, or that's hindering to create your future. And now imagine you pull out that energy from your body, and now you're holding that energy in your hands. Just connect with it for a little bit. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is there any texture? Is there any movement to it? And now imagine you're in a beautiful forest or a park, and you're going to put this energy in the ground. So you can even imagine that you made a little hole to put this in there. Or you can just keep imagining that this energy is going to go into the ground. And as you're putting it in the ground, imagine it becomes a seed of any kind, whatever comes to you. And you let it go in the ground. And now take a deep breath. Just feel how your body feels when this energy is in the ground outside of you. And Earth has a beautiful feature built in. It can transform anything into something more useful, more beautiful, more abundant, more fertile. So imagine now there's a tiny plant coming out of that seed. And stay focused on this plant. This plant is turning into a little plant, a bigger plant, more leaves are coming out. It's growing even faster and faster, and it's turning into this beautiful tree. A beautiful, beautiful tree. A lush, beautiful tree. And as you're sitting there, see how this tree is benefiting. Maybe there's some birds coming, they're building their nest there. Maybe there's some families coming. They're sitting under the shade of the tree. Maybe there's some kids swinging on the lower branches of the tree. This tree is bringing so much joy and beauty. That energy that you just extracted and gave to the earth is spreading so much joy and light in the world. And now take 3 deep breaths and let the feeling settle into your body that what you extracted from your energy field is creating so much beauty in the world. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. So this is a small release exercise you can do. For example, let's say if 10 years ago there was a very difficult moment that you experienced and it keeps coming back. And you feel like that is what holds you from trusting another person or trusting yourself. Whenever that moment comes, extract that energy, not because you want to get rid of it because it's bad, it's not good. You extract that energy, you connect with it. We did the consciousness and the energy both at the same time, just a little bit, not a lot, because every situation is different and we want to go much deeper into it, but this is more of a general workshop. That's why we are doing it this way. So we connected with the energy of it and we gave it to the earth. And we saw what earth can do with it. It created beauty out of that. So now your nervous system is getting reprogrammed. Whatever I let go can create beauty in my life too. So it starts to become a little bit safe. There's identity shift, there's a loyalty shift. When you can see the beauty, even though it's complete imagination, when your nervous system can see the beauty, it loosen up a little bit. So we did combine a little bit of consciousness, a little bit of energy work. So you will be doing it maybe multiple times a day. But when you have more practice, when you trust these tools more, for example, something that was bothering me for past 2 days, right before I was preparing this workshop, I literally just pulled it out of my back heart and released it. So as you become a pro in practicing these things, you can really play with energy and shift, create bigger shift within you so much faster. So that is something you can do to release. And we want to enter into our heart space and just start to see what else is possible for us. Just doing this a little bit of release work, you will see, you will experience a little bit of openness within you. Your breath might be a little bit easier to, like, it's becoming a little deeper because something has created space within you. Few questions that you can work with in terms of release. You can ask yourself, what do I carry that no longer is needed? It could be the judgment for yourself. It could be the shame and guilt that you carry. It could be a specific fear that's no longer needed. You know that. We all know that is no longer needed, and then we hold on to it because it makes us feel safe. Now, what story is not mine anymore? Pay very close attention to the stories you tell yourself all day long, all day long. This is what happened. This is who I am. I always do this. Which story is not mine anymore? I can let it go. The life that I want, remember, we just did that experience. What do I want? The life that I want, the story is not going to create that life. If you want to be a confident, fearless person, you cannot keep telling yourself, I'm a loser. I don't do anything right. You cannot be telling yourself that story because you're putting a spell on yourself. You're keeping yourself stuck in that cage that's created by your own words and your own thoughts. Now, what would I be free to become today? That is another question you can ask yourself as you do this process. Like, who would I become? If I'm not that person, who would I become? That is my most favorite question whenever I'm going through a massive growth period. I ask myself, if I'm not this, then who will I be? And there are crickets in the beginning. Like, you will not get an answer because that is you're extracting from your soul. You're asking that of your soul. Who else will I be? But if you stay in that question day after day, you start to see and feel glimpses into who else you can be. You start to meet a different version of you within you. And that is when actions become so much easier. Um, we did go through that. Okay, there's only two things left. Saying yes to something you have never experienced before and creating the future from now instead of the wound. Now, when it comes to experiencing something that you have never experienced before, we're going to use the mirror neurons that already exist within our nervous system. You're going to start looking for people that are real, they are not AI or imaginary, who live those lifestyle or who live those kind of relationship. You can even watch movies. Watch movies that are happy, healthy, beautiful things are happening. If you are, for any human being, but specifically if you're healing your nervous system, you have been through trauma, I do not recommend you watch any movies of destruction, chaos, any kind of further trauma, any kind of horror movies, anything that is going to startle you or that is going to be a little bit of heavy for you. I highly recommend, no matter how much in love you are with those movies, stop watching them. When I was healing my nervous system, I watched documentaries, but nature documentaries, not the documentaries of like, crazy stuff that happens in the world. Nature documentaries, or I watched travel documentaries, different places, beautiful things, or I watched Hallmark movies. When the movie starts, you already know how it's going to end, and most of the characters in that are very gentle, kind, loving, something that is very soothing to your nervous system. Now look for things around you on TV, on internet that you want to experience. If there's a beautiful relationship you want to experience, if you feel like, Alia, I cannot find it in real world, even like, the person I was so inspired by, even they are going through divorce, so I don't know what to do anymore. I actually had a couple that I thought was the perfect and ideal before I got married the first time. And then I was married, and then I saw that they are going through divorce. And I was like, if they can go through divorce, anything can go, anybody can go through divorce. So sometimes it's difficult to hold on to that. So watch movies, read books, those imaginary fiction characters. Once your nervous system, so the beautiful thing about our unconscious mind is it doesn't know if this is imagination or it's reality or it's past or is it present. It doesn't know the difference. So you can feed it whatever you want to feed it, and it will create that for you, my friend. And I'm not saying it from a theory, I'm saying it from a person who actually lives that way. I have created massive, beautiful, out of the world experiences in my life that doesn't even make sense to my logical mind by practicing this, what I'm teaching you right now. So start pulling in things that you would like to experience. That's why some people they create a vision board. If you're not a vision board person, then just write down your new life story. Who are you? Where do you live? Who do you live with? How does your life feels? There's a book called Vivid Vision. Let me see if I have it here right now in my, oh, right here. So this is a wonderful book. About 4 years ago, this is a book that I used. So what he recommends creating a 3 year life plan where you are writing it with all the details. And within, I believe, 2.5 years, 90% of what I wrote became my life. But you cannot create it from your wound. This is what happened to me. You can create it from, what do I want? And then pull it from world around you. There's so much chaos around us, but there's also so much beauty around us too. And when you'll be focusing on happy, beautiful couples, you will start seeing happy, beautiful couples. That is all I focus on. Happy, healthy relationships. And I see them everywhere. I see them every single place I go. I see healthy, happy people, healthy, beautiful relationships. Another thing that I say to myself all the time, humans are just so beautiful. They are so wonderful. Wherever I go, I experience true beauty of humanity. I mean, there's some, interesting incidents too, but most of what I experience is true beauty of humanity. That is the power, my friend, that exists within you based on what do I want. So that is how you can create your future moment standing where you are right now. Where am I right now? What do I want to experience? Um, when you are leaning into saying something that you have never experienced before, that is a consciousness shift because you're sitting there thinking, who am I to experience? Our self-worth is usually very low. That is where it's important to embody divine worth. And if you're open to that kind of work, Unlocked Heart is a program where we do that, where we learn how to unblock your heart from all the things that has happened to you. And the next cohort is starting September 23 and 24. I have two different times. Definitely reach out to me, go to my website, aliajamalcoaching.com, and you can sign up right from the website. But when you want to sit with, how can I say something, say yes to something that I have never experienced before? So there, my friend, I'm gonna take you through a little trip down the memory lane. So you can close your eyes and you can keep it open. Remember when you were nobody. You had no body. You were just a pure consciousness. And then there was a moment, there was a tiny body that became yours. It was a gift to you, right? It's a gift that has been given to you, a body that works properly. And then there was a time when the body came into the world. It was sitting in an incubator that was so perfectly designed, and it came into the world where it get to experience with other humans. And with every single thing that you went through, you maybe thought that your parents provided you shelter, they provided you food, but no, there was an energy that was providing you all of that through your parents. The moments that you experienced, they were full of love. Whether they came from your parents, whether they came from your friends, whether they came from a partner, they were full of love. You thought that these are the people who are loving me, but no, there is an energy behind all those people that was loving you through those people. All the most difficult moments that you experienced, the moments of terrible fears, when you were terrified, maybe even for your life, when you were in so much emotional pain, the moments when you were so worried that you had no idea what will happen to you. In those moments, there was an energy that was present there with you. You were not alone. You were never left alone. And all the money that you have ever had, all the beautiful things you have ever had, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, there was an energy behind those things that you got to experience. That's not your own earning. That is the same energy that wants to give you a life that you cannot even imagine. That is the energy you'll connect with every single day to get what you can't even comprehend. Your nervous system is like, I don't know how it feels to be a trillionaire. Just go to the energy. You can call it source, you can call it God, you can call it universe, but there is a power that has sustained you, not your parents, not your credit card, not your job, not your ex, not your current husband. There is a power that has sustained you, my friend. And that is the power that wants to give you the most beautiful life that you can't even imagine. Let yourself experience it. So that is my little motivational appeal to you, to really open yourself to the most beautiful things that the Creator wants to give you, because He didn't create you to suffer. He created all of us to experience the most beautiful life ever. If we suffer, because we are being stubborn like me, because we don't want to let go of what we know to be true. One of the things that I live with within me is I have no idea. That is what I tell myself all the time. I have no idea how it's going to happen. I have no idea how that thing will manifest in my life, but that is what I want. That is such a quick way to keep your heart wide open. So maybe psych yourself the same way that I did. Go to the moment. You didn't even have a body. Who gave you a body? You didn't. Your parents didn't. God did. If God can give you a body to an energy that can live through that body, imagine what God can give to that body to live, to experience. Regardless of the lineage that you come from, regardless of the kind of hardships your parents had, I do understand. I'm an immigrant myself, so a lot of people who are living in different parts of the world, who have left their home country and they are in a different country, they have a very different kind of limitation system versus people who are native to that land or who have been settled there for multiple generations. So wherever you go in life, my friend, I understand we compare ourselves with, well, you were born here and I wasn't, and I'm starting from zero. I understand that. But I can tell you this thing, my friend. Wherever you go in the world, you'll be provided for. Who's providing? That's the same infinite power that's providing you right now. So, staying where you are right now, you can receive infinite because the power that gives you is infinite. So, this whole section was to convince you that you can say yes to something that you have never experienced before. Because before we were in the body, like, at that time it was like, oh, I don't know how it feels to have a body, especially if that was the first descent for the soul. So, what we covered today in releasing the past to create a new life. When we are holding on to our past, there are very specific things: safety issue, identity issue, loyalty issue. That's why we hold on to it. When we want to release it, really release it, it requires consciousness and energy work. You can look for other releasing tools, but what I took you through is where you extract the energy, you put it into the ground, you can see the beauty coming out of it. That is consciousness and a little bit of release work, but you'll be doing it multiple times in the day or multiple times in the week or multiple times of the month to bring yourself back to the center, bring yourself back to the center that I am in control. When you're ready to create your new life, instead of looking at what you don't want, you start looking at what you do want. And when you stay focused on, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, and then you lean into the energy that gives it to you, magical, miraculous things happen. And if you're ready to do the deeper work, but you're not ready for 1 year commitment yet, join us for Unlocked Heart. That's starting on September 23rd. Is going to be 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And September 24th is going to be 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That is for my friends who work during the day and they cannot commit to a daytime to join us. With that, we are ending. And I know we went way over our time. So I'm going to pause the recording and we'll